I'm going to say it again. Y'all are a cult.
What was cultish about what I just said?
Like, you can't. So I'm a reformer, not a revolutionary. Okay. And I say this all the time because the left is a cult. Okay. That means Trump does bad things. And I go, yeah, well, like, I'm going to win here, 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 and here. And I'm a reformer. And I want those reforms more than I care about other things.
Okay.
That tends to be the average voter, largely on economics and immigration. The left is like, but how could you possibly vote for Trump if one thing is bad?
Well, it's not one thing. I'm asking which liberal policy has Trump implemented that is aligned with your
anti-intervention?
Liberalism? Okay, so
the neocons my whole life were pro-intervention and pro-war.
Yeah, Iraq War.
And I didn't vote for Trump in 2016, but he didn't start any wars, and he set timeline for withdrawal from
escalated the drone strikes from Obama and changed the
during a withdrawal. Indeed, right.
The withdrawal.
The reason why Donald Trump escalated drone strikes was because we were pulling troops out of the Middle East.
Sure, but he killed more people in that area with drones and changed the reporting and changed the report. Well, okay, are you anti-interventionist because you are afraid of like the death and the destruction, or are you just like, oh, we shouldn't be located here?
Donald,
like I can be in America and I can send missiles into another country.
Donald Trump's policies in his first term, extending even to now, have been the gradual rescinding of U.S. military might in foreign entanglements.
I'd say mostly that checks out.
And that was the liberal position for 30 years of my entire life and every protest I ever attended. Mm-hmm. And now the Democrats are pro-war.
Pro-war?
Oh, come on. How much you want to give Ukraine?
That's not pro-war.
Do you want to give Ukraine?
Hold on, let me give an example. If I'm not like a pacifist, but I never in my life hope to ever kill anyone. However, if someone breaks into my house, I'll blow them away, right? If I'm not sure.
If someone invades the United States, I will join the military in 2 seconds.
Exactly, right? So like, it's not pro-war to say, hey, we don't want new wars to start. However, if Russia invades Ukraine, then we should give them like money or weapons to stop that from happening. That's like a defensive
pro-war.
measure. Why is that pro-war?
Because
the war didn't get started. It's not like America's like, go commit war.
Here, I love this. Let's try this. Gentlemen, a foreign nation 12,000 miles away has invaded one of their bordering neighbor states of 29 million people. We need to send special forces, military training, ATACMS missiles. We need to provide intelligence. We need to sink the flagship of their Black Sea fleet and make sure they win this war. And we're going to make sure American PMCs are on the ground aiding them. And I'm like, y'all are pro-war.
Why is that pro-war if we want to help an ally when a war was started by
Ukraine's not an ally. They're not an ally of ours. They've never been a formal ally of NATO or the United States.
Yeah, so they're not in NATO. That doesn't mean we don't support their common goals. That doesn't ally doesn't mean like officially we ascribed it like on this.
What should we do if a nation we are not aligned with bombs our energy distribution lines?
Are you talking about the Nord Stream pipeline stuff?
I'm asking you a basic question.
If an enemy or a friendly nation does that?
I didn't say friendly nation.
If an enemy nation does it.
I didn't say enemy nation.
If just a nation did that.
If a nation bombed one of our distribution systems for our allies' energy, what should we do?
It depends on why they did it. Because if you're talking about
cut off our access to energy.
Yeah, so like the idea, this concept of like, I think the theory is that Ukraine did it to escalate our tensions with Russia so that we would support them more. Like that's the theory behind that, right? Like, and we should, if that's the case, that I
asked you a question about if a nation.
We both know what we're talking about,
Indeed,
right? We're
so
talking
answer
about
the question, and then we'll carry on.
Yeah, if the case is that they did that, if that's what ended up happening, it's like, oh, okay, like this country tried to sabotage us to make us do something. That's probably a bad thing. We should punish.
And that's what Germany is accusing Ukraine of doing.
Germany's accusing Ukraine of the Nord Stream thing, right?
Germany has issued an arrest warrant for one Ukrainian who they said was accompanied by 2 other Ukrainians to bomb the Nord Stream pipeline for the purpose of cutting off NATO access to energy, so that Russia would stop getting the resources from Europe, which benefits them. I don't want to say the singular source funds the war, but it provides them with resources in war. So Ukraine attacked a NATO ally because they were trying to cause harm to Russia.
I don't know if we know this is fact, and this is...
That's fine. You know what? I don't care. I care. Our ally asserted it, and we should be aligned with NATO, not Ukraine.
If Germany asked us, hey, can you? First of all, Germany supports Ukraine, but if Germany said, hey, can you punish them for this? Then I think that maybe we should listen to Germany if they did that. Well, the idea that we should pull out of Ukraine because of this.
Now you're pro-war, dude.
How is this pro-war?
We should not be involved in some other country's war. Why not? They're not an ally of ours.
But they literally are an ally.
No, they are not. That's fake news.
We helped them sign the agreement to give up their nuclear bombs.
That's a memorandum, not an alliance treaty.
Yeah, just because you legally didn't write the word ally down doesn't make it that, hey,
we
did not promise a security guarantee for you,
treaty
right?
alliance we do not have with Ukraine.
Are you saying that if we make a promise to
you're pro-war. You're pro-war. Bro, you are in favor of foreign war and our involvement in it. Yes or no?
I am in favor of defending a country that was attacked by another country if that country had security guarantees. Well, I know you're not.
You're pro-war.
Why is that pro-war?
Do you think the U.S. should be involved in Ukraine's war?
Yes.
Okay.
We gave them security guarantees.
The liberal position.
Wait, hold on. Let's talk about NATO. If Germany gets attacked by Russia tomorrow, do you think we should defend them?
Yes.
Okay. Are you pro-war?
If our alliance is attacked by an enemy nation,
we're going to send American troops. They're all going to get shot by the Russian troops. Is that pro-war? Because that's our guarantee that we'll go defend them.
It's not. Like, I don't know how y'all can't grasp this.
Why is that not pro-war?
Ukraine is not an ally of this country,
nor
are we being attacked. And I would also add, I am skeptical a bit on whether we should answer Article 5
for NATO. But the
for
point
NATO,
is, like, I'm not pro-war.
Depending on what Europe is doing right now. So let's just hammer out the nuances of this.
Okay.
5 years ago, if Russia bombed Germany, then yes, we should answer the call of NATO.
Is that pro-war?
No, it's not.
Why not?
The issue that I'm talking about...
It's a war that you support to defend our ally.
You support intervention. That is the nuance of the conversation. You guys are cultists.
Why is that cultish?
Because you can't understand nuance.
Can we take a step back?
You live in an isolated, one-dimensional reality.
Take a breather. I just want to ask like a really simple question. Like, I don't think I'm coming in here like with some crazy ideology. Now, you can say I'm wrong.
You are.
Hold on. You can say I'm wrong for 100%.
Neocon zealotry.
But when I see a country that we signed an agreement with that said, hey, we'll protect you so you can give up your nukes so that you don't need them for protection, and then they get invaded and we say, hey, we'll help you out. This isn't like some crazy concept to me. Now, if you can explain why that's a bad thing, I understand, but I don't think that makes me pro-war, right?
Yes. So when I say pro-war, I'm referring to what a traditional liberal is over the past 30 years. My whole life,
liberals supported aiding people that we made promises to our whole life.
Okay, once again, you are a cult. You can't seem to grasp nuance. Everything's black and white.
No.
You can't understand that there is interventionary conflict, which I oppose, which had been the liberal position for 30 years, and we should not be intervening in Ukraine's domestic politics and their war.
Bill Clinton intervened in Kosovo. Was that pro-war?
Yes.
Why?
We should not be intervening in foreign conflicts in foreign countries.
So we should have let the Serbians genocide the Albanians?
I don't know or care.
Why not?
It's not United States.
You don't care about people dying?
I care about people dying when it's in our country and within our purview.
Yeah, but if we have someone that we can have some mutual beneficial relationship with and they say, hey, please stop them from genociding
Neocon,
us,
bro.
shouldn't we do it?
You are allowed to believe what you want to believe.
I just don't understand.
Didn't they make a movie, Team America World Police,
you are
making
fun
of
neocon.
exactly
that?
No,
brother, making fun of was the Iraq War.
If we went back to 2006,
is Bill Clinton a neocon?
You would be a neocon.
Is Bill Clinton a neocon?
If we went back to 2006, you would be the neocon.
Bill Clinton was in 92. Was Bill Clinton a neocon?
Neocons and neolibs.
Answer my question. Bill Clinton is what I don't think is a neocon, intervened in Kosovo to save the Albanian people from a genocide. You call this interventionist? Is he a neocon?
When I call you, okay, this is because you guys live in a one-dimensional reality. You can't seem to grasp.
Answer my question about Bill Clinton. How is he?
He's not a neocon.
Okay, but I
think you lack the understanding.
What am I lacking the understanding of? I'm looking at an intervention that I may or may not agree with and say, oh, this one makes sense because of a security guarantee that we gave them. Why is that pro-war? Is Bill Clinton pro-war?
I'm using the word pro-war to refer to your pro-intervention stance.
You're comparing it to what
I'm not an isolationist.
We would agree here. You don't like the George Bush Iraq invasion, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's not just interventional.
Nor Serbia, Kosovo, nor Desert Storm under First Bush.
Genocide. One is our intelligence agencies. Bill Clinton stopped the genocide of the Albanian people in Kosovo using intervention, right?
Yeah,
that's very different from our intelligence agencies lied to us about weapons of mass destruction, so we went in and devastated this country and killed almost 1 million people, right? You and I are both against that. That is not anti-war because I'm against that. That is, I'm anti a shitty war.
I know it's hard for you to understand. And I don't know how to convey the idea to you that I don't believe the U.S. military should be an apparatus of the world police.
Okay.
Be it Serbia or otherwise, or Ukraine.
Why not?
I think that America should be responsible to the American people.
If
I don't believe
a relationship
that the American
with a country by saving
you want to let me answer the question?
Well, hold on.
You asked me a question.
Right, and I'm clarifying my question. If you get a beneficial relationship with a country by intervening and saving them from a genocide, isn't that good for America? That we now have influence there. Why not?
That's my point.
I don't think a single American troop died in the Kosovo.
The American people should not be spending their labor on foreign incursions by a political class that rejects the will of the people.
Do you think the will of the people was don't help the people getting genocided in Albania? Like, I don't understand this.
Trump won the popular vote.
Well, I'm talking,
right?
hold on.
Did Trump win?
Around. Yes.
No. I don't give a shit about Serbia and Kosovo. I already said no. I don't. I was a little kid. I don't think you. How old are you?
I wasn't alive when
exactly. So let's not argue about things we didn't exist in. Because if we want to go back to the 80s, we can talk about Ronald Reagan being for gun control. Okay, and he was a conservative, and the Republicans love him, and I think he was a scumbag. He was also in favor of no-fault divorce. Going back and talking about how politics change is not the point being made here. The point being made here.
It is, because you say you're a liberal from 2002, and I'm saying none of your positions line up with these people.
Liberal tends to refer to where the Democrats used to be.
But you don't line up with those people. You're literally anti-Bill Clinton from the 90s, which was the liberals in the 90s, so even further back.
I know this is hard for you to understand, but saying the same thing over and over again doesn't change what I said.
Yeah, because you're not acknowledging what I'm saying. You're not a liberal from the 90s. You're not a liberal from the 2000s. You don't support DACA. So, like, how are you a liberal from any of these eras? Just, like, why not just say, I like Trump's policies because Trump is on the right and that's who I support? Like, what's wrong with that?
I think like I said this earlier, one of the biggest divides between the left and the right is that the left is retarded and the right is slightly less retarded. I saw you tweet that
this morning because the Bryan Cranston scene fell for your bait, right?
Because you can't seem to grasp that I was 13 years old when the U.S. began their interventionist neocon policies.
In 2003.
And that is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And then when you start talking about a bygone era to which I didn't exist in politically, nor you, it's immaterial.
I talked about Obama. You were alive for Obama. You're disagreeing with Obama's
disagreeing with one policy.
Which policies do you support?
Doesn't make you a conservative.
Which
I'm in
policies
favor of universal basic health care. I'm pro-choice.
But then why vote for Trump?
Because
he's not for any of those things.
Do you think that I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris?
If she's closer to those policies than he is.
I'm a reformer, not a revolutionary. I get a withdrawal from the Middle East if I vote for Donald Trump.
I want to reform the left-wing party from what I don't like they're doing. But
by voting for what?
Are you going to vote for Trump and reform him to become pro-choice, become immigration in the way that you want? Like, is this really what's happening? Are you changing the Republican Party to be more left?
Is Trump pro-war or anti-war?
It depends on what you mean. He didn't start any new wars, but like I said, he escalated drone strikes.
Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
He's talking about invading Greenland. He struck Soleimani, which might have caused a war with Iran, which might still happen.
No new wars? No new wars? Did you say
term,
you say no new wars? Oh my God, that means I have a choice between the Democratic establishment pro-war.
Did Joe Biden start a new war? I actually don't know.
Yes, Ukraine. And he got us involved in it.
Started Ukraine?
Joe Biden started the U.S. involvement in the Ukraine conflict. Yes, he did.
Start the war.
Agreed. Joe Biden got the U.S. involved in a foreign entanglement in Eastern Europe. It's fucking nuts.
So you're like not just no new starting wars, no new involving ourselves with any country's politics that are at war.
I'm not going to speak in absolutes. My point is this. I am not a revolutionary. You live in a cult world where it's black or white. I am saying that the mathematic proposition of the last election is Donald Trump gets me closer to what I like with RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard.
And so I say I will vote. Name some things that you're getting closer to. Yeah, what are you getting closer to with
banning artificial dyes in food?
Okay, that's a very actually I agree
very
with that
specific
policy.
thing that I'm
that's
very
a very
much
specific
a fan
thing. But like,
and
what is
other
he getting you closer to
chemicals?
on other? What environmental things has he proposed? Like what clean energy? What
RFK Jr.
You say aren't you pro Green New Deal, right? Or no? Did you say that at some point?
I was pro-Green New Deal when the policy was we're going to build roads and bridges, not when it was we're going to racially discriminate against people in colleges.
Okay, maybe
that's what AOC's Green New Deal was.
I think I might have seen there was some DEI stuff in there.
Right.
That's what you're talking
about.
So
when AOC came out and said, we want a government program that reinvests in roads, bridges, and we want to focus on environmentally sound practices, I said, this sounds fantastic.
Okay.
And I made a video saying this is a good idea.
Yeah,
it's going to bring back a bunch of middle-class jobs.
Right.
It's going to strengthen construction companies, and it's going to fix our crumbling infrastructure. And then she released a resolution that said in hospitals, in universities, and in other hiring practices, race should be the preference.
Right. So what's getting closer to that? Because my policy is I might disagree with some of those things. And I'm going to be in that party telling them, hey, you got to nix X, Y, and Z to get us closer to that original thing you had. Yep. But you're voting for the complete opposite party who's nowhere close to that.
Trump didn't start any wars.
Green New Deal.
Obama started 7.
What environmental policy is Trump getting you closer to, right? Like, and the no new wars thing, again, Biden didn't start one.
I didn't say I voted for Donald Trump for the Green New Deal.
What did you vote for him for then? That's what I'm asking. You're saying he's getting you closer to the things you want.
Candidate.
Helping out Ukraine is not us starting a new war.
Obama started 7.
Started 7 wars? I think Syria, I know that one. What are the other ones?
Yeah, wow, amazing. He got us involved in Syria without congressional approval nor notifying the public.
Sure,
and we only found out after we were already in Syria for like 2 years.
Right, and you can be upset about that. But again, how does voting for Trump get you closer to this? I just don't understand this. Like, I really don't.
Right, because the left is a cult. If I have to choose, we can call it whatever we want. Did Donald Trump start any wars? Famously,
in his first term, he did not start a new war.
Yes,
famously, right? Yeah.
Famously, he did not.
Right.
I'm going to vote for that every day of the week.
But do you support him, like, drone striking Soleimani?
That's a coin toss. It's tough.
But like, I don't know whether or not it's good. I'm like,
Sure,
maybe we needed to do this, right? However, that absolutely could have started a new war, and it might end up being a part of the reason we go to war with Iran. Like, there's
a really great point made by Sebastian Gorka when I talked to him recently. Is that the biggest concern that we have is we don't intervene with boots on the ground in foreign countries. However, when it comes,
Biden do that.
We have special forces on the ground in Ukraine.
Well, they're not fighting, right? They're instructing people, right?
Look, I'm not gonna. This is such a psychotic. Listen,
it's not different.
Do you? If I hand John a gun and tell him to shoot you, who killed you?
John.
And would I go to prison?
Yes.
Indeed.
Right, but
so when the United States provides
in World War II when we gave guns to the British, like this isn't us fighting in the war. We were aiding an ally then, and then we got involved when. Well, you're saying that's why the Japanese bombed us, or
there's several reasons why the Japanese bombed us. One of which was we were supplying their enemies with weapons.
Sure.
Then
so you're saying it's semantic to say we're not fighting the war because we're not shooting at them. We're giving them all the tools to do it.
We have American special forces on the ground providing logistical support, instructing. We have trainers in Poland training their troops. We have U.S. citizen PMCs on the ground pulling the trigger and shooting guns. And it was
okay. So
private military contractors.
Volunteers or private PMCs are.
We call them. It's funny how the media calls them volunteers when they're paid to be there, but sure.
Well, I know there are volunteers in Ukraine. They probably get paid by the military. But you're also talking about something like Blackwater, right? Like an actual a private company is there.
What are they
fighting on behalf
call
of
themselves
Ukraine.
now? They change their name every year or something.
Yeah, because they got to.
I don't know that they're actually there. The volunteers that are fighting there are paid individual private military contractors to fight.
That's not the American military.
They're American,
right?
They're American veterans. Money to pull the trigger.
If I go and do that, right, I'm not an American veteran. I wouldn't say that America's on the ground. It's just an American citizen, right?
If I give John $100, a gun, and say, shoot you, will I go to jail?
Yes.
Indeed. And where did that money come from?
Came from you.
Okay, so
but you're not fighting in the war. You didn't commit a violent action against me. You just contracted me to be killed.
It's ridiculous semantics to be like, well, American citizens are there fighting, and they are paid by the American government to be there.
Not the military. The American military is not declared war on Russia. The American
government's not really involved because they're only paying the guys, but the guys chose to be there of their own volition. Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.